Welcome to your storytelling. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to subscribe. I always thought James and I shared everything. Our home, our dreams, our future. But one night, as I ordered an Uber on our shared account, a strange address popped up under recent locations. My stomach twisted. I didn't recognize it. We lived in the suburbs, but this was an apartment complex downtown. My first thought? Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he had given a ride to a friend. But something about it nagged at me. I clicked on the address and copied it into Google Maps. It wasn't near his office. It wasn't near any of our friends' places. So why was it there? I tried to brush it off, but I couldn't. And that's how it all started. How I unraveled the biggest secret of my marriage. The next morning, I couldn't stop thinking about that address. It was like an itch I couldn't scratch. So, during my lunch break, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove there. My heart pounded the entire way. The complex was modern, sleek, the kind of place young professionals lived in, not married men with houses in the suburbs. I parked across the street and just stared. Was I being crazy? Paranoid? Maybe. But as I sat there, watching the entrance, I saw someone I never expected to see. James, my husband. He strolled out of the building, casual, like he belonged there, like he lived there. I didn't confront him that night. Instead, I watched, observed. James acted normal, laughing at dinner, scrolling through his phone, kissing me goodnight. But something had shifted inside me. The next morning, when he left for work, I went to our closet and grabbed his favorite jacket. My hands trembled as I reached into the pockets. And then I felt it. A small, cold object. A key. A key I had never seen before. My breath caught. I pulled it out and turned it over in my palm. Was this the key to that apartment? And if it was, what was inside? I couldn't let it go. That evening, when James left for his weekly basketball game, I took the key and drove back to the apartment complex. My hands were sweaty as I stepped into the elevator, heart racing. I found the door that matched the apartment number from our Uber history. I hesitated, my mind racing with possibilities. What if this was all a misunderstanding? What if I was about to step into something I couldn't handle? But I had come too far to turn back now. I slid the key into the lock, took a deep breath, and turned it. The door swung open, and I stepped inside. My first thought? It smelled like James. His cologne, his laundry detergent. My second thought? This place wasn't empty. It was furnished. Lived in. The couch had a throw blanket tossed over it. A coffee mug sat on the counter. There were shoes by the door, James' shoes. My breath hitched. This wasn't just a secret apartment. This was his home. A home that had nothing to do with me. I stepped deeper into the apartment, my heart hammering. Everything looked so personal. The couch had a book open on it. The fridge had groceries. My hands shook as I reached for the closet door. I don't know what I expected to find. Maybe nothing. But when I slid it open, I gasped. There were clothes inside. Men's clothes. His clothes. But then, my eyes landed on something else. A section of the closet that wasn't his at all. A woman's coat. A pair of heels. A silk scarf draped over a hanger. My vision blurred. Who was she? I forced myself to move, stepping toward the bathroom, my stomach twisting. I pushed the door open, bracing myself for what I might find. The toothbrush on the sink? Not mine. A bottle of perfume sat next to the mirror. I picked it up, spraying a little into the air. Floral. Light. Not the scent I wore. My fingers tightened around the bottle. Every corner of this apartment screamed of a life James had outside of me, and I had walked right into it. My husband didn't just have a secret apartment. He had a secret someone. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The house looked different now, like a stage set, fake and hollow. When James walked in later that night, I felt like I was seeing a stranger. He kissed my forehead, asked me about my day, and I wanted to scream. But I didn't. Instead, I smiled. Pretended. Because I needed answers, and if I confronted him now, I might never get them. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed him. When he left work, I was already parked a block away. My pulse pounded as I watched him get into his car. He didn't drive home. He went straight to her. I trailed behind, my heart in my throat. He parked at the apartment, got out, and walked inside like he belonged there. And I just sat there, staring, realizing the truth. I wasn't his only home. I couldn't take it anymore. That night, I scrolled through his social media, searching for anything, any clue, any hint. Then, I noticed something strange. A woman had liked almost all his recent posts. Her profile was private, but her picture? A blurry selfie with dark hair and a soft smile. I clicked on her name, my hands shaking. Who was she? Was she the one living in our apartment? And if so, how long had she been here? I couldn't sleep. That woman's profile haunted me. Her name was Elena. Just a name, yet it felt like a dagger to my chest. Who was she to James? A friend? A coworker? Or something worse? I clicked on her picture again, analyzing every detail. Then, I noticed something, a reflection in her sunglasses. A city skyline. Familiar. My stomach flipped. It was taken from the balcony of his apartment. The next day, I couldn't help myself. I searched for her. I found her LinkedIn. She worked in marketing, downtown, not far from James's office. My fingers hovered over my keyboard. Should I message her? Demand answers? But then, an idea hit me. I needed to see her in person. I needed to know what kind of woman had been living in my husband's secret apartment. I waited outside her office building, my heart hammering. And then, I saw her. Elena. She was beautiful, elegant, the kind of woman who turned heads. And my husband, he had chosen her. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to move. I followed her as she walked down the street, every step making me sicker. And then, she stopped, right outside his apartment building. She pulled out a key and walked in. My hands clenched into fists. She wasn't just visiting. She lived there. That night, I could barely breathe. James sat across from me at dinner, laughing, sipping his wine, acting like nothing was wrong. But everything was wrong. I was wrong, for letting this go on, for keeping this secret when he was the one who had lied. You okay? He asked, his voice warm. I forced a smile. Just tired. He reached for my hand, and I fought the urge to pull away. I wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. But soon. I needed proof. Cold, undeniable proof. So I did something desperate. While James was in the shower, I took his phone. My hands shook as I scrolled. And then, I saw it. A message from her. Elena, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Love you. My vision blurred. Love you. Love you. I had my answer. This wasn't just an affair. This was a relationship. And I was the outsider in my own marriage. That night, I couldn't hold back anymore. As James sat on the couch, casually flipping through a magazine, I walked in and stood in front of him. We need to talk, I said, my voice steady, but my insides were screaming. He looked up, confused. What's wrong? I threw the phone on the coffee table. Who's Elena? His face froze, his eyes darting away for a split second. That was all I needed to see. It was the lie in his eyes. He stammered. Elena? What are you talking about? He acted confused, played it off like it was nothing. But I could see the panic growing behind his eyes. Don't lie to me, James. I know everything. I watched as his face shifted from confusion to guilt. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. How long has this been going on? I demanded. He stayed silent, his shoulders slumping in defeat. Finally, he spoke, his voice quiet. It's not what you think, he started, but I was done with excuses. Then explain it to me, James. How do you explain the second apartment? The key? The messages? He swallowed hard, looking like he had aged years in a matter of seconds. I never meant for it to get this far. I didn't want to hurt you. My heart shattered. This far? How much farther had it gone? Her name is Elena, James finally admitted. I've been seeing her for almost a year now. My chest tightened as the words sank in. A year. He had been living this double life for a year. He didn't just have an affair, he had built a whole other life. I felt nauseous, my world spinning. He continued, I didn't know how to tell you. I thought I could keep it secret, keep you safe from the truth. Safe from the truth? Had he ever cared about me? I took a step back, my mind racing. So what now, James? What happens to us? He didn't answer right away, his eyes full of guilt. Finally, he spoke. I never meant for you to find out this way. I still care about you, but his voice trailed off, and the pain in his eyes was more than I could bear. But there was no but. I had been betrayed. My heart was broken beyond repair. I couldn't look at him the same way anymore. I need space, I said, my voice cold. I can't do this anymore. I spent the next few days in a daze. The house felt like a ghost town, the silence loud and suffocating. I couldn't escape the constant echo of James's words in my mind. I care about you. But what? He had chosen her. I walked through the rooms, each one filled with memories of a life I thought was real. But now, everything was tainted. The pictures on the wall, the dinner table we shared, even the bed we slept in, they were all part of a lie. Just when I thought I couldn't feel any worse, my phone buzzed. I opened the message, and my heart skipped a beat. It was from her. Elena, I know you're hurt, but we need to talk. James isn't being honest with you. My blood ran cold. What could she possibly want from me? I hesitated for a moment, then replied, "What do you want?" Her response was immediate. "I'm not the enemy here. I never intended for any of this to happen, but I need you to hear my side." I agreed to meet her. I don't know why. I wasn't sure what I hoped to gain. Maybe I just needed to see the woman who had taken my husband from me, face to face. We met at a coffee shop, and when she walked in, I couldn't help but stare. She looked so different from me, taller, more sophisticated, but her eyes? Filled with the same pain. She sat down and took a deep breath. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said quietly. "But James, he told me he was unhappy, that he wasn't getting what he needed from you." My stomach churned. Elena continued, her voice trembling. "I didn't know about you at first. He never told me he was married. But when I found out, I was already in love with him. And by then, he'd promised me everything. I felt sick, but I stayed quiet. She was a part of this too. She had known about me, but it didn't stop her. I never wanted to come between you two," she said. "But I'm not the only one at fault here. James has his own lies to tell." The words stung. As much as I hated her, I couldn't deny that she wasn't the only one who had betrayed me. After our meeting, I didn't know what to think. I hated Elena, but I hated James more. He had made promises to both of us, lied to both of us, and somehow thought he could keep us both. I spent the next few days alone, thinking about everything. The apartment, the secret life, the years I had wasted with him, believing he was the man I thought he was. And then, I made the hardest decision of my life. I couldn't forgive him. I couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies. I called James that night, my heart pounding in my chest. When he answered, his voice was soft. "We need to talk, don't we?" he said. The anger and sadness in my heart welled up, but I stayed calm. "I'm done, James. I can't do this anymore. I can't be part of your double life." He was silent for a long moment, and I could feel him searching for the right words, but I didn't want to hear them. "I'm leaving," I said firmly. "I can't stay with someone who doesn't respect me, who doesn't value me." The next morning, I started packing. I didn't know where I was going yet, but I couldn't stay in that house. It felt like I was suffocating in the place that was supposed to be my safe haven. The walls felt like they were closing in on me as I sorted through my things. I picked up a photo frame, the one of our wedding day. My fingers lingered on the glass. I had truly believed that was the beginning of a lifelong love story. But now, it was just a painful reminder of what had been stolen from me. When James came home, I was almost finished packing. He stood in the doorway, his face full of guilt and sadness. "Please, don't go," he said softly. "I know I messed up. I know I've hurt you, but I love you." I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in weeks. And in that moment, I realized how empty those words were. He had loved me, but he had also betrayed me. Love doesn't hurt like this, James. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't have a second apartment. I grabbed my bag and turned away. Goodbye. It wasn't easy. I found an apartment, something small, but just for me. A place where I could breathe, where I didn't have to pretend. I spent the first few weeks just figuring out who I was without him. I started doing things I had put off for years. Reading, cooking, going for walks. It felt like freedom, even though I was still healing. But slowly, I felt a glimmer of hope. I could rebuild my life. I could be me again. Months passed, and I was stronger. I'd moved on from James and the pain he caused. I began to trust again, not just others, but myself. I knew I wasn't perfect, but I had learned from my mistakes. I was no longer defined by his lies or my heartbreak. I had learned to let go, and it felt like the weight of the world had been lifted. I couldn't change the past, but I could control my future. And I was finally ready to face it, no longer afraid of the unknown. Thank you for listening to my story until now. If you liked the video, please support it by subscribing and liking.